Welcome back. You're watching Daybreak, and thank you for staying with us. The hashtag on X is Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya, and at Ayub Abdikadir will sample your feedback in the course of this broadcast. And with me in the studio is David Carrier. He's the chairperson of Road Safety Association here in the country. Good morning, David.
Morning.
Much appreciated for your presence here.
Thank you.
And thank you for finding time to talk about this very subject matter that is of concern to many Kenyans.
Sure.
Is it shocking that so far we have recorded 1,926 cases of road accidents, barely 3 months?
It is shocking. And first, I want to correct the figures.
Yeah.
The recorded cases are as per the record, but the deaths are more. We have lost more Kenyans from January to this time, more than whatever is reported by the police, because, you know, the police give the report of the people they collect on the road when dead, but they don't follow up when people are taken in the hospital.
Yeah.
And we lose more in the hospital.
So the number could be more?
It could be. It is more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our calculation, we are counting at 600. As per now, 612.
All right. Given that what I've mentioned were the recorded number of road accidents that the Minister of Interior and National Administration gave, and that is just in the first 2 months, not even including March, so it excludes the current ongoing month of 2024. And I mean, as an association then and stakeholders in the transport sector, how did we get to this position?
I think it is only that we have people who don't listen, because we had already, as the association, we had raised an alarm.
Yeah.
And we reported this. We wrote our letters even to the CS, and we told them this thing was going to come because we saw it coming. We have written so many letters. We even had discussions with NTSA director in December, and we told him the way things are going, we are going to see school buses, lorries, and tour vans killing our people. Reason being, it was very simple. These vehicles have never gone for inspection. So, and it is mandatory. Yeah. Every vehicle must go for inspection, and it must physically visit the inspection center. We have 17 inspection centers gazetted by the government, whereby all these vehicles must go for inspection. But it came a trend whereby people are just sending money and then their vehicles are passed. And when we saw the trend going on, we reported. We started complaining long time ago. We wrote letters and nobody could listen to us. And that is why you saw BBC, the expose of the BBC. It is still a follow-up of that. And if you followed the expose of the BBC, it was very clear that vehicles are not inspected. And inspection, for those people who don't know the importance of vehicles going for inspection in our country, these vehicles should go for inspection once per year. That is, before you take your vehicle for inspection, you make sure that everything is working, from the brake system, the tie rods, all these things must be working. But if vehicles don't go for inspection, what do you expect? For a vehicle to be taken for inspection, it is a bit expensive to the owners of this vehicle, because you must make sure that your vehicle is in good condition. So what is easier? The easiest way is to bribe their way. And when we discovered that they are bribing their way and vehicles are not going for inspection, that is when we raised the red flag. But the problem was, where were we raising our red flag? Those are the beneficiaries of the proceeds of these 6,000 people pay. So the problem which we have, it's a man-made problem. This is a problem our leaders know, and they know this problem was going to happen.
So this was a disaster in waiting, in other words?
It is a disaster, and it is something which we have raised the red flag. As the experts on the road, years with experience, we raised our red flag and said, and put it very clear, it is there. It is in record. It is in media. We complained and said these vehicles will start killing our people because they are not going for inspection. Instead of inspection, it is 6,000. You just give 6,000 and your vehicle goes through. So what do you expect? No miracle will come. And unless something is done, we are not still safe. Because we say the vehicles which should go for inspection in our country, the number is 1.5 million vehicles which should go for inspection. And the only vehicles which have gone for inspection, last year, it was only less than 300,000 vehicles. So we have 1.2 million vehicles on our roads which can kill at any time.
Now, given what you have mentioned and the vehicles which you said are not subjected to inspection, isn't this then failure on the part of the government and the association as well, because you are within the spectrum of the transport sector, in ensuring that the 17 gazetted areas meant for inspection of these vehicles ought to be the receiving ends? And why hasn't that happened?
Our work as the association, when we see such things not happening, our mandate is just to make sure that we report to the authorities that this is what is happening. There will be this if you don't do this. And we have done that. We have reported. We wrote up to the CS level. We have sought even to meet the CS because we knew this was going to happen. We wrote even letters to the CS, to his peers, so they cannot say that they were not warned before these things happened. NTSA has received more than 20 letters from us that expect this thing to happen. Because 4 years down the line, these vehicles have not been going for inspection.
Okay, we'll proceed on that subject matter. And for now, we are joined by Melania Wangoi. She is the Parkside from the Parkside Road Safety Awareness Campaign Group. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated and lovely to have you here on the broadcast. Certainly an increase by 28% of road accidents from a similar period in 2023. And my first question was to carry was these shocking statistics. And given that as an association, these numbers have been there, what's the messaging? What does it tell us about generally the transport sector in our country?
Thank you so much, Abdu, for having me this morning. It's quite a sad week, for we have lost so many lives, and if nothing is done, honestly, we are going to lose more. This is because I would say there is a lot of ignorance from those people who are supposed to address this, and I hoped to meet them because we have been trying to reach out, and the reason as to why we are having that increased number, like my colleague has said here, it's because there are people who have slept on their jobs. Yeah. And we kind of acting out of emotions. I would say we are acting, anytime we get an accident, we act out of emotions, and we tend to think that these have not been happening. But like he has said, we start, what is the root cause of all these accidents? Who is failing? I believe it's an all-round. Yeah. We have to come together, all of us. He has talked about inspection. Honestly speaking, if we do a survey today, how many vehicles they have the stickers for, they have been inspected, but do you know there are vehicles that right now they'll take a side mirror, they go in inspection, then they do not have that side mirror. So I think from the root cause, from where we start is, how is our department, that the road transport industry, how are they taking this matter? How are our organization? Look at the inspection. He has talked about how many we have. How many vehicles do we have in Kenya? Are you sure we are able to have the inspection done? We talk about the speed governors. Are they in use right now? I don't think so. Okay. That is something that has been forgotten. We talk about the safety belt. It is forgotten. So it's a matter of who is not doing what they are supposed to do. Right now, we have gotten all kind of rules from all corners. But I'm like, what is it going to change? Because you will not say the traffic police are not doing their work. What is this unique are you going to do? That is where we should start. Let us not go too far, blaming the driver, blaming the passengers and all that. Because even how are our roads? Look at Nairobi, Mombasa. That road should be a dual carriage. But we are talking about having other roads, but we forget about the road is one of the most used. And if we look at it, it carries almost, if not 50% of our economy, I think it is somewhere there. But it is not dual, and nobody is speaking about that. We are speaking about taking back for the drivers for retest, for medical. Which medical are we doing? So let us not go deeper to things that, honestly speaking, they won't work. Unfortunately, they will not work. If we are not going to go back to the grassroots and say, this is where the problems start. And I'll always acknowledge a man who made a change in the transport industry. Michoki. How did he make it?
Okay. David, coming to you.
Yeah.
You and Melania point out one key component of where the problem lies of this general pie, and that is the inspection part. General road expansions, these are issues that will go through procurement process, therefore a policy matter. But aren't there other contributory factors to these cases of, to the rising cases of road accidents? It's not only about inspection, is it?
Let me tell you one thing. There are so many factors. Factors are many. There is the road designs. All these things are there. And many people are involved. We involve Kenha, Kura in all this. There is the behavior of the driver. There is how do we train our drivers. This is another issue we've been complaining about. In Kenya, we don't have a government testing drivers. We don't have any school testing for the government. All what they do, you go to a private school, you say you have qualified, and I want to take you back to the same thing I told you about the expose I did with the BBC. You saw somebody getting a license and he has never driven a vehicle. The same. What is killing us is corruption. And I want to tell you, corruption, it is at the highest level. And today, if you talk of corruption in this country, you just think about a police officer who is on the road. And this, if you see EACC, since it was formed, the main work they do today is to arrest police officers who are collecting 50 shillings. We have reported to them, even the cases of how people get these licenses. How do you get a license and you have never gone to school? That is, you are given an AK-47 to go and kill. Because how? You are getting on the road, you will get professional drivers, but you are going to kill them. So what we are saying, why did, the question she asked, why did Michuki succeed? There is nothing big Michuki did. What Michuki did was to make sure that he was having meetings with the stakeholders and getting the real, how do we solve this problem?
Okay.
But the leadership we have today, me as a chairman of road safety, it is very difficult to see the CS Murkomen. I could see Michuki myself. We could sit and discuss. I could see CS Kamau and sit and discuss. But today to see Murkomen is the same as trying to have an appointment with my president. Again, also our political, let me tell you, safety in any country, you need the political goodwill. What is the political goodwill? You see today, who is our CS in the ministry, in the Ministry of Transport? We have a lawyer. We are not supposed to be having a lawyer. We need an expert. We need somebody like an engineer, somebody who understands what are the measurements of the road. Today, what are we hearing? After these accidents, our drivers must be taken for retesting. In which schools are you taking them? This thing came.
Yeah.
This thing came.
Okay.
And then it was all corruption. If a driver gives the money, he's cleared that, he has gone for that retesting. Who is this person who is going to retest this driver? These are all the questions we should ask ourselves. Let us not start jumping. And what we should, just as Michuki did,
okay.
When Michuki came, the number was 3,000. The number which the people who are dying yearly was 3,000. Per year. But Michuki did not go jumping the way our leaders are jumping today. He had proper meetings with the stakeholders. Then they could highlight where do we start. So he started from somewhere. Let me tell you, my brother.
So we
are not complaining. She has talked about speed governor.
Okay.
She has talked about speed governor. I was in record when the new standard came. And the standard never changed. In our law, the Parliament Act which passed the speed limiters, it talks about a limiter. We changed the limiters to transmitters. Today, it is tracking devices which are fixed in the vehicle. Just drive in any highway. You will see a truck, be driving 110, the speed you're supposed to drive. You will see a truck passing you like you will not imagine. And maybe it is carrying petrol. What do you think can happen? So we changed these laws, but the laws are there. In fact, we don't need any policies. We don't, because of this accident, now they are coming. Go now outside there. They are removing registrations of vehicles.
Okay.
This is the time they are doing this. Why? Why at this time?
The point is then we'll come to the part of the effectiveness in the policies. But in the current dispensation, I'm sure you agree with me, that we have even better procedural mechanisms and frameworks different from what Michuki never had. But he succeeded, he said. However, why then do you want to meet, for example, CS Murkomen, who is a transport CS, when you have these procedures and they're just there for implementation but isn't happening? How then are you going to actualize this from the practicality perspective? You don't need to meet the CS, is it?
You need, because he is the one who is there. For instance, when we were talking about these vehicles are not taken for inspection and something will happen, a disaster, this is a waiting disaster, who do you go to tell? You have to talk to your CS, convince him. If these vehicles, if we proceed this way, these vehicles not taken for inspection, when things start happening, we will not be able to manage them. So that CS, you cannot say him. Let me tell you, technology, everywhere in this world, we have technology. But where we are trying to put our technology, it cannot work. Let me tell you a very good example. Because of corruption. In the whole world today, any vehicle going for inspection, there is an inspection sticker they are given. In our country, they were removed. So that the people who eat this money, nobody will know. A police officer on the road today, now we are talking of police officers going on the road, to check on what? They will only go and check an insurance sticker, because that is what is in the windscreen. But even if you go in the developed countries, a vehicle from inspection, there is a sticker indicating it will even expire at what date.
All right.
And when it should go for inspection. But you expect a police officer. Yeah. First of all, I want to tell you the truth. I was in Keganjo trying to train these police officers because the speed governors which are already in the vehicles have a speed gun in them, which has never utilized for 5 years. And it is a very simple thing. It is just a thermal printer, if they have the thermal printer.
Okay, so that's the question of corruption. But Melania, what does it then tell us when the government makes a pronouncement that the drivers should be retested, but you have no schools to retest them? I mean, how do you arrive at that?
That's why I said some of the things the government is talking about, it's out of emotions, because it is impossible. In the first place, what are they retesting? They talked about medical, mental, the eyes. Who is going to cater for that cost of retesting? So it's all about, I call it, we make a lot of noise this week, then next week, I'm double sure there will nothing be like that. The same way we got an accident along Nakuru-Nairobi highway, and there were a lot of rules that were made, but after a week, it was forgotten. So it is the time the government stop acting out of emotions. Because we have lost so many lives, we start acting out of emotions. We want to show the Kenyans how we are acting about it. But ask yourself, as a Kenyan, how many drivers are going to be retested? What are they going to retest? They have talked about medical.
Okay.
How many do we have?
That needs medical experts. So you have to rope in doctors.
Thank you.
And who pays them?
How many and which criteria are they going to use? They did not say we'll do it in county, we'll do it from, they did not say. So how is it going to happen? So it's all about something has happened and we want to be like, this is happening. Okay. We need to come up with something. But are you going to implement that? No. You act out of it. I talk about the traffic. He has talked about corruption. Have we really invested on our traffic police? As he has said, talk about the insurance stickers. How sure are you these stickers are normally genuine? How sure are we? We have technology. They are using very difficult terminologies about technology, but are they implementing it? And let me tell you about road safety. It's not something you just wake up one day and you just decide this will be done. Like they said, NTSA to go back to the roads. I'm like, okay, what different are they going to make on our roads? Why don't we work with the traffic police before bringing another body? The reason they were taken out of there was a reason. So it is always good to look at why were these people moved out of the road? Then from there we get to know, is it necessary for them to go back to the roads?
Okay.
Because I believe if we invest on our traffic officers, I've realized our enforcers, the traffic officers, as much as sometimes we try to push them away, honestly speaking, these guys have not been invested on.
Okay.
They do not have vehicles. They do not have the tools. So you find along Thika Road, we only have one
All right.
traffic police with that motorbike. So.
Okay, we'll talk about the welfare aspect and the expectation that Kenyans have of the announcement made by the transport CS Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen of NTSA that is set to be back on the roads and how effective this will be, and further couple that up with also the much needed convergence and the point of convergence for that matter of then how to address and to go about this. We, for the record, invited NTSA, but they declined to appear for this television show here on Citizen Television to balance up this panel. This is Daybreak, and many thanks for staying with us. The hashtag on X is Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. We proceed after the break here on the broadcast day.
My brother at the NTSA.